Welcome back to the summit. I am so happy to welcome Mary Huang to the summit. Mary is America's female empowerment expert, and she helps women rapidly transfer trauma into points of power. Creator of Queen's Compass, she shows single moms how to reclaim her life, build a strong foundation, and create a new world with peace, purpose, and power. Author of The Empowered Child, she teaches parents how to raise conscious, confident, connected kids and set sail, details how to turn trauma into power. Her expertise has been featured on award-winning podcasts like The Tao of Self-Confidence, Asian Women of Power, and Parent Pump Radio. So thank you so much for being here with us today, Mary.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thank you so much for having me. I just love the conversations we have, and I'm grateful that we get to share it today with a wider audience. Thank you.
The feeling is so very mutual. Such a joy to have you. And I'm excited to talk to you about this topic because I know you're going to have a lot to say. So let's start out with you just telling me a little bit about what this idea of unique identity means to you.
First of all, unique identity is this topic that you're bringing up is so important, more so now than ever during this world where uncertainty seems to be heightened, whether you're just a human on planet Earth or an entrepreneur. It really doesn't matter if you're old or young. I have two young daughters, and my 9-year-old had a major existential crisis this morning. So, I mean, we're all feeling it as long as we're on the planet. Yeah. And unique identity is one of the main solution, I think, to find that groundedness, that confidence, and be in the world, but not of the world. So to me, unique identity means that fingerprint that the divine created when it thought of us, right? The purpose that we were created for, the reason that we broke through the atmosphere to come onto Earth to fulfill something, right? And something important. And then hopefully to do it together with others, like, how we get to do it together. And so many people watching today, hopefully finding other like-minded humans who are on this path of wanting to know, what is unique identity? How do I find mine? And how do I find others who care about that and link up and collaborate? Because that's what it's all about.
Exactly. Yes. I love that. And so how in your own life have you been able to tap into your own authentic identity?
It's a process. When we're born, we have to learn how to roll over and crawl and walk and run. So it's like that in anything in life, in any arena, any topic. So this is no different. To be able to tap into my own unique identity, there's a process of unraveling all of the programs that were inherited, whether through the lineage, through DNA programming, through stories that are told, through the modeling that our parents give us, and whether or not the parent or past generations and the adults around us when we were younger, whether they had the tools or the desire to unravel themselves so that they could be more unique and authentic as the role model. And I think our generation is very lucky, especially in the West, more so than the East, from what I've seen, is that we've had much more access to this kind of information and transformation so that we can undress and take off. Like, I keep talking about this imagery of unzipping that coat and stepping out so that these layers of programming that we don't even know is happening to us, it's happening in utero. Yeah. That's what the Set Sail book is all about. It just shows you all the ways that we're programmed. So being able to tap into it is a process of figuring out how to take those layers off one by one. And I talk about it like every time we have a transformation and understand ourselves a little more, we do feel the negative emotions in order to own it and process it. And then it's like going into a room, seeing all the skeletons in that room, facing it, shining the light on it, and realizing, oh, those are just things I didn't realize. Well, we can call it shadow work. We can call it, a lot of different titles. But as soon as that room is cleared out, we feel this aha moment of like, okay, there's more peace, because now I'm not trying to hide and run away from this boogeyman that really isn't a boogeyman.
Right.
And then the next time we have another chance to transform, we go into that room, but in the back of the room is another door. So every time we come in, there's chambers within ourselves, and it's really an internal journey.
Yeah.
So, but a quick and easy way to tap into your own unique identity is to have that quiet time of inward reflection. It could be journaling, it could be meditation, it could be prayer. But I'll tell you what the number one key is for me is to understand, and this is through my own experience. I've been a teacher of the esoteric for decades, and it wasn't until I had my major heartbreak from a divorce not too long ago, a few years ago, that caused me to come back to Christ, but not as a religious, judgmental type of mentality, but of just studying the text and the word and having that esoteric training to now come back to it has been absolutely mind-blowing, incredible. And that's what saved my life, because it was devastating.
Sure.
And connecting to the God self within, the divine self within,
Right,
is what saved my life. To literally let that shatter of the personality, ego self of what I used decades to create, to attain, because I was programmed to be this, and that as a female who's Asian in America, married, having kids. There are roles that we are expected to play out. And I achieved it all. And once I did, realize that, oh my gosh, this is a lie. This is not correct. And so when it all came crashing down, it was the opportunity to allow the divine to come in, because I was like, well, I clearly know nothing. So please come help me.
right.
And that is what is necessary to surrender and release and let go, so that the divine can come in and reorganize and recreate, not only just the renewing of the mind, but like the cells, the programming, the beliefs, everything in your whole life. And you just watch it kind of like a domino effect. Everything around you just goes into place.
It's so true. And I love that there's sort of this magic to it. And I think that's what you're alluding to, where when you start to do the work, part of it's you, but part of it's not you, right? I mean, we're assisted in this work. We don't have to do this on our own. We're not just like hung out to dry, like, oh, you're going to have to go figure it out. That's not how it works, right? We're actually intended to know who we really are, to really understand our true identity. And there's a purpose in that. And that purpose is playing out in the world, but it's also playing out on the grander scale too, as in the course of time, which is really incredible to consider. So I love that you bring that up. I think that's really important, just to think about, yes, it's a process, but it's also something that we're assisted in. That's amazing to think about. So
I want to add one thing to that, is that not only are we assisted, we are never alone. So we are assisted from in utero till post and into infinity. And I spent so many years thinking that I was alone, because we're programmed to say, good job, you did it all by yourself, and as a parent, I'm really watching my words and my programs about that. And so to hand over that power after so many years of positive reinforcement about it, it also added to the difficulty of releasing control to the divine. So, yeah.
Ooh, it's such a great point. And I think, to just go a little bit deeper with that, having an understanding that a lot of the things that we have sort of taken on and we accept as, truth in our lives are really coming out of that programming. And so when we really start to take a look at it and we start to just get clear about what that programming really is, then we get to decide for ourselves, do I actually really believe this? Is this actually even true? And we have this totally different perspective than we would have had otherwise.
So true. So true.
So with that, then talk to us a little bit about how accessing your own unique identity really has helped you not only personally, but also in your business?
How does it help me in my own life and in my business? Oh my gosh. I mean, first of all, me and business are the same. It's just an extension of me. So every time I evolve and transform, my business transforms and expands as well. So that's the beauty of business that I love so much, because I really look at myself as, how do I tap deeper into my unique identity, which is, how do I understand what it is to understand this greater universe, the infinite intelligence that created me, that created all things, is what I'm always focused on. I'm always focused on, how do I have a deeper relationship with that energy that created all?
Yeah.
Because I want to know what I'm supposed to do on this planet at this time. That's all I care about, is destiny fulfillment. And that's what I help people do, because that's all that really matters, especially during this time on the planet right now. It's just so, explosive. And through the explosion, so much creativity is possible.
So true.
And that's why it's actually like, yes, there's so much uncertainty. Yes, there's so much fear and division. And out of all of that, I just see like volcano lava just like exploding, which there are, that is actually happening all over the world.
Right. Yeah.
But all that creation that comes out of that. And so entrepreneurs who are watching this right now, and hopefully you're sharing it with others too, who are open-minded, so that we can get this energy out there and spread it far and wide, because this is all about creation at the deepest level of like, who are you? Why are you here?
Right.
And who can you collaborate with to play and make this change on the planet that's so necessary? We're just,
so how do we do that?
Right,
how do we really start that process? I mean, if this is kind of the first that we've ever really even considered some of these ideas, where do we start?
Okay, we had a little lag there. So I'm going to recap what you said.
Yes.
Is how do we start this idea of tapping into ourselves?
Yeah. So if this is all sort of new to us, how do we kind of begin this journey?
I think just having conversations. So surrounding yourself with, whether finding a group of people, a small group, or starting a group if you can't find one. I used to do that all the time. I couldn't find the people, so I would create it. And it's even better because, you have to get crystal clear on your intention. And if you're new to this, which we've all had to start somewhere. So thinking back to that, when I was new to it, I would read lots of books. I would, now we have the internet, so I would like scour the internet for information.
Yes.
And allow my intuition to cause me to say, oh, click on this button, connect these dots, research this. I'd go down the rabbit hole. So there's that
and
curiosity.
had a little fun with it, I'm guessing.
So fun. And then once you get crystal clear on it, and if you didn't get guided to some group, whether it's Meetup, Facebook, anywhere really, create your own. And then after that rabbit hole experience of curiosity and fun, then like, okay, I really would love like at least one or two other awesome people who are focused on getting in touch with their unique identity so they can fulfill their destiny on their planet in this lifetime. How fun is that?
Right? Yeah. And the interesting thing is that so many people right now are having this similar experience of kind of coming through a season of change, transition, and starting to really explore, okay, what am I doing in my life that's really meaningful to me? That really gives me a sense of fulfillment and purpose. And I think that's part of what we're talking about here, is giving ourselves that opportunity to get into that space and start to have these conversations with ourselves, but also with others.
Mm-hmm. And on, to write on that idea is the last 2 years, we've had a lot of loss.
Yes.
And we've had to get really clear on, or at least the opportunity was there for people to really be introspective and figure out like, what is for me, what is not for me. All that division was to help us clarify, like, well, do I want unity? Okay, I want unity. How do I go about that? And I know a lot of people have had to, lose people because of that. And trusting the universe is another part of this. Trusting the universe that it always has the divine plan for your divine blueprint. Like everything is so working out for each of our highest goods. And we have to believe that life is good. If you look at nature, and if humans, just think about 2020, the beginning of COVID shutdown. I know in Los Angeles and even in India, the air quality was like incredibly improved because of the shutdown.
Right.
So if you look at nature and even our own bodies, when it's given the correct conditions, it wants to heal. It wants to thrive. We are programmed to naturally heal and thrive.
Yeah.
So we just have to trust the divine.
That's so powerful. And with that, to know that even if the circumstances right now don't look the way we think they should, or, if we're seeing something in a way that feels painful, or, we're perceiving it as a negative circumstance, to know that there's still good, there's still a seed of good in it. And sometimes we just have to keep looking for that seed of good, that it's not always easy, I guess, right? But to know, again, that we're supported in that.
I'm so glad you brought that up, because honestly, my 9-year-old who had that breakdown this morning, she's an old soul. I mean, amazing old soul, here to really help this transition on earth. We are a 2-family home, and it was very traumatizing. Anyone who has to go through that, but especially children. And she's like, the divine doesn't exist. The divine is not for me. It never has been. Life is so hard. And so, so children, I mean, they all experience what we did the last 2 years.
Right.
And so having these conversations with them, if the viewer has any children, whether it's their own or, around them, acknowledging that these little humans are going through this. And what I told her, the reason why you reminded me of that incident this morning, is because that's exactly what I said to her. I go, life can be really hard, but we gotta just realize that once we learn something from it, it becomes easier. And that's the whole thing, that there's the opportunity to learn from every situation. We've gone, humans coming through the birth canal, or even coming through the mother's womb period, surgery or canal, it's painful. And so being a human is not easy. But it's about mindset and perspective, and surrounding yourself with people who also care about finding the right mindset and perspective. And together you rise together. It's so important to be surrounded by the right people.
I couldn't agree more. And to know that, it's okay too, to be in a place where everything doesn't feel okay. And, and to even be unhappy or unsettled, or, there's nothing wrong with all of these things, because in some way they're still serving us. They're still giving us the opportunity to look at, okay, what is this really about? Where is this coming from? And what am I needing to learn or take away from this? And so even though it's painful or difficult, it's still an opportunity in some sense. And I think that's really what you're alluding to.
Yeah. It's imperative that we cultivate that viewpoint and hand it down to the younger people around us, because life is not easy. But the takeaway I gave her, my young 9-year-old, is that life is easy once you figure out how to tap into your own divine self within, which is what we're talking about, your unique identity. Your unique identity is really just like your soul imprint. It's like we all have a fingerprint that's different. Your soul is the same. And so what is your soul here to radiate? Yes. It doesn't matter what it is you're doing. Even if we were doing the same thing, it doesn't really matter. It's like, because of our frequency and vibration, it makes it different.
That's so beautiful. I love that. And I think our children are so powerful. And, they give us these insights. When we come into their world and into their space and we have these conversations, it actually opens these things up for us as well. And I think a lot of times, they are actually like gifts to us as adults, because we have all the programming, we have all these layers, and they're still closer to the source. I mean, that's just the way it is, right? And so even if they don't necessarily feel it, they have easier access. And so it's amazing the things that will come through them.
I totally agree. I mean, they are 100% gifts. I've always, even when I was pregnant, before pregnant, knew that they are here to teach us.
Yes.
And just for that reason, what you're saying right there, because when she reflects to me that, oh my gosh, I have the programming, when she's reflecting herself back to me, I'm like, oh my gosh, all right, let me work on that. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, that's really that is kind of a piece of the joy of the journey too, is, just learning that we're learning. It's okay. There's going to be some ups and downs. We're not going to have it figured out, on this side. And that's all right. That's, we're going to do the best we can, and we're going to keep expanding along the way. And in the end, it's all going to work out the way it's supposed to anyway.
Well, I want to put an exclamation to that, because you're reminding me of a client conversation from yesterday morning. And we ended up giggling at the end, but the beginning of the conversation was full of tears because it's so traumatic. I work with, traumatic situations. And so the understanding is we've gone through enough difficult moments as a human to look back and recognize, and even you watching us right now, just think about this, look back in the past, you've gone through at least a few things that are difficult to handle, mini crises or big ones, and you always survived.
Right.
And you always found, it always made sense at some point. Looking back, you can connect the dots. Right. And so we can borrow that to have confidence that when we're going through some terrible pain, that we can trust and know, okay, I don't know what it is right now that this is about, but I'm going to be open and I'm going to ask the universe, please show me so I can graduate from this and not repeat this ever again. And so that my future generations can benefit from me doing the work, but please, show me, and then just trust. And then one day you will. Yeah. And that's it. You can have gratitude while you're going through it.
Love that. So good. All right. So I know you've got a couple of books out, and you've got some great things coming up. Tell us a little bit about how people can tap into the resources that you have available so they can learn a little bit more about this.
Thank you. If you guys want to get in touch with me, I would love it. You can go to Mary L. Huang, which is HUANG.com. And you can also go to any social media and just look for Rise from Divorce. I help women, spiritual moms, single moms who are divorced, build a strong foundation so they can have a new life, a new world with peace, purpose, and power and prosperity. I had to go through that, and that's how my business reflects my own transformation. And, when we go through pain and we learn the lessons, not sharing it is kind of selfish. And I'm saying this for the viewer's sake. So that gives you permission to really shine bright and own it and say, you know what, let me make this pain useful. I don't want that pain to be for nothing. Let me help somebody else with it. And so that's why now I'm creating this program. Oh yeah. In just a few weeks, I am launching my next course, digital course, just for that purpose. So definitely come to my website and check me out so you can stay in tune for that information. I also have a freebie to help people who are looking to tap into their own unique identity. So it's the 5 keys, my 5 secrets to tapping into your own unique identity.
So fun. Yeah, no, it's really just such an amazing time to be able to go through this process because we really are being supported in unique ways right now. And that's what I'm really excited about in 2022 is just helping people to better understand how these processes work and to be able to start to take the steps that they kind of know. I mean, it's like we know deep down that we need to take steps forward, but we don't always know how to do it. And so just getting some clarity around that can be hugely helpful. Well, thank you so much, Mary. Such a blessing to have you here and a joy to talk with you again today.
Thank you so much, Pamela. It's always so fun to be with you. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much. And to the audience, we look forward to seeing you in the next video. Goodbye, everyone.